afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Live at 4 on this Tuesday. Went to bed last night. It was kind of sultry and woke up this morning.
Now it's chilly and dreary.
Yeah, but the rain's going to be moving out.
Yeah.
So we'll get the weather from Julian in just a minute. But first, in the Darrell Brooks trial, the prosecution has already finished closing arguments, and Brooks will be giving his shortly. So what was Brooks' behavior like today? Today
is the first day of early voting in Madison. We'll talk to the city clerk about what you need to know.
And President Biden rolls up his sleeves for an updated COVID vaccine and has 2 words for Americans. Get vaccinated. We'll tell you the administration's latest call to action ahead of the holiday season. But first, let's take a look outside.
Still a lot of color around, even with the rain and the wind. It's holding on.
Sounds like it's raining when the shot was taken.
It does.
Anyway, back to fall. Julian is back. And the weather oh, that's where the rain is coming from. So coming from you.
Yeah, we're dealing with a lot of showers for us, and I'm going to continue to feel this way throughout the rest of the evening. And it has been mild over the last few days, but folks, it's not going to be like that from here on out. We're back to seasonable and fall-like weather. Cloud cover is going to stick around throughout the course of the rest of our evening and for tonight, so don't expect many breaks as we get in throughout the rest of today. But taking a look at the rain in itself, we're looking at that band really starting to recollect itself around Dane County and continuing to push in the northeast track. So from Dane to Greene County, we're looking at rain for all of southeastern parts of southern Wisconsin as we continue throughout the rest of this evening. Now, taking a look outside, as you can see from me having to have an umbrella, it's definitely umbrella and light jacket weather for us because we're going to be dealing with some chilly conditions. And on top of it, the rain is going to stick around on and off throughout the next few hours, especially as we get into tonight. But take note, it is going to be in the mid-40s, but as we had already talked about, back to fall and fall weather returns. We'll take a look at how the rest of this week is going to be shaping up after such a mild and rainy start. Outside of that, though, here's a first look at our traffic. Slow spots along the Beltline as expected with the rain, probably slowing things up for people. So make sure that you are taking it slow because it is slippery on the roads. Outside of that, we'll take a look at the interstate, looking smooth as silk as we have plenty of green as we're getting into our 4 p.m. commute. And again, we'll talk about that fall weather coming up in a few moments. Until then, back to you guys.
All right, Julian, thank you. Darrell Brooks' trial is marked by several delays and outbursts, and it's been no different today for closing arguments.
The prosecution just wrapped up its closing argument in this case. Brooks is accused of driving through the Waukesha Christmas parade last year and killing 6 people and injuring others.
Brady Mallory has been covering this trial and shows us both sides' final messages to the jury today. Brady?
It's been a long day to get to this point. We just heard from the state, and now we'll soon hear from Brooks, who is defending himself, make his final plea to the jury. The prosecution largely focused on intent. District Attorney Sue Opper says evidence shows this was an intentional act for Brooks and a disregard for human life. She says he and he alone had the power to stop this, but he didn't. As for Brooks, we saw him clash once again with Judge Jennifer Doro over courtroom decorum. She reminded him to base his closing argument on the law, but he said he wanted to remind the jury of what he calls the truth and its duty to him. After a bit of back and forth, the judge reprimanded him for interrupting proceedings.
Just stop driving. That's it. It's really that simple. Not one person had to be hurt that day if he would have just stopped driving.
So, Mr. Brooks, you have forfeited your right to be present for the state's closing argument.
Your Honor,
you will be taken to the courtroom next door, and I will invite you back over when it's time for your closing argument.
You can't invite me back over. I can reclaim my right. So how can you invite me to do anything?
The courtroom is to be cleared so that Mr. Brooks can be removed to the next courtroom.
Brooks watched the prosecution's closing argument from a monitor. Now, the court is taking a break before it's Brooks's turn. Judge Doro also removed him earlier today after he interrupted her jury instructions. We are monitoring the proceedings, and we will work to bring you Brooks's side tonight at 5.
All right, Brady, we'll see you then. Thank you. Fitchburg police arrested 2 people in connection with a rollover crash and shots fired call in a neighborhood off Fish Hatchery Road. A 44-year-old man faces charges of a felon in possession of a firearm and endangering safety by reckless use of a firearm. A 41-year-old woman was arrested on a parole violation. Officers were sent to the 2900 block of Coho Street around 6:40 a.m. Monday for reports of shots fired. A rollover crash was reported about 10 minutes later in the 2000 block of Post Road, roughly a block away from where the gunshots had been reported. A suspect had entered a home near the scene of the crash, but law enforcement did not find anybody inside. The suspect reportedly had ties to the home that was searched. No one was injured in the shooting nor the crash.
More than 1,000 people in Madison jumped right into early voting today. The city clerk's office released that total around 2 o'clock this afternoon on this first day of in-person absentee voting. The November 8th election, of course, has some big races, but there will likely be fewer voters than in a presidential year. That means clerks expect fewer absentee ballots as a whole. Still, anyone who can legally vote can vote absentee if they like. Madison offers 32 locations to do so, but the process is a little different if you live outside of Madison.
If you live in a village or a township, you're going to want to go to your town hall, your village hall, so you can't just go anywhere in the county. In Madison, it's a little different in that they have their early voting in the libraries. So if you live on the west side but work on the east side, you can go to any library in the city and vote.
According to the Wisconsin Elections Commission, more than 250,000 people vote absentee in Wisconsin before today's in-person voting began. In-person absentee voting ends on November 6th, 2 days before Election Day.
And the governor was in Madison today encouraging people to vote early.
He wasn't alone. Many other Democrats held similar events across the state to try to turn out the vote.
Political reporter Will Keneally spoke with the governor at his stop. Will's live on the west side for us this afternoon. Will.
Yeah, so we're actually just outside this Evers event, and we just heard Evers wrap up, essentially touting early voting in Wisconsin, which is just starting today, and really encouraging, for his case, Democrats to get out and vote. We heard from actually a local grassroots organizer here talking about those voters who might be a little bit less likely to turn out, especially on a midterm, off-year cycle. Those are really key voters for Democrats this year. According to polling that they've seen, those voters are actually more likely to turn out for Democrats or for Tony Evers instead of his opponent, Tim Michels. So we also heard, obviously, Evers tout his record over the past 4 years on things like fixing the roads, but also making a case for Democrats on the issue of abortion. He's also ahead of a handful of events that Democrats are hosting this week. Elizabeth Warren will be on the UW-Madison campus tomorrow, and Pete Buttigieg similarly will be on the UW-Madison campus this Friday hosting an LGBTQ event. On the Republican side, we have Glenn Youngkin stumping for Tim Michels. He will be in Waukesha on Wednesday. And similarly, we had Ron Johnson in Waukesha today, similarly touting early voting in Wisconsin, hoping to get out the vote for his side. Reporting from Madison, Will Keneally, News 3 Now.
And in Milwaukee today, Johnson's challenger, Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes, cast his ballot on this first day of early voting in Wisconsin. In the most recent CNN poll, Barnes trails Johnson 49 to 50% among likely voters. When Barnes was done voting, he tore into Senator Johnson's record on taxes, saying that the trust fund set up by Johnson hasn't paid Wisconsin taxes since 2016.
We're learning more today about a school shooting in St. Louis where 2 people were killed and 7 more injured yesterday. Students described chaos as 19-year-old Orlando Harris, who authorities say was armed with a long gun, opened fire at Central Visual and Performing Arts High School. Police say the call came in around 9:11 Monday morning. 4 minutes later, police say law enforcement arrived on the scene. By 9:23, they say officers engaged Harris in a shootout, and by 9:25, he was dead. In a media briefing this morning, St. Louis police said Harris had 1 gun in his possession at the time of the shooting. The weapon was described as an AR-15 style rifle. In addition, he reportedly had 600 rounds of ammunition.
I seen my friend have all blood on her hand, and it was like she seen the shooter, and the shooter came to her and said, "You ready to die?"
Students were evacuated to a nearby grocery store parking lot where they reunited with their families. The shooter graduated from the high school just last year. People from across the St. Louis community gathered to mourn the victims last night. Officials did not reveal how the gunman got into the building, but said school security and existing safety protocols helped delay his entry.
The sportswear giant Adidas is the latest company to cut ties with the rapper formerly known as Kanye West over his recent anti-Semitic comments. Bowing to mounting pressure, Adidas announced it's ending its partnership with Kanye West, who now goes by the name Ye. The superstar, who has acknowledged mental health issues in the past, has recently made a series of hateful and threatening remarks, including that he would go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. In a recent video, he seemed to taunt the sportswear giant.
I could literally say anti-Semitic and they can't drop me. I could say anti-Semitic things and Adidas can't drop me. Now what?
Well, in an apparent answer to now what, the company said, quote, Adidas does not tolerate anti-Semitism and any other sort of hate speech. Ye's recent comments and actions have been unacceptable, hateful, and dangerous, and they violate the company's values of diversity and inclusion, mutual respect, and fairness. Ye's talent agency has dropped him as well. As the media group MRC announced it would shelve a documentary it had already finished about the controversial star.
Britain's new prime minister made his first speech to the nation this morning. Rishi Sunak gave his statement of intent, which is his vision for his government. Speaking to the flailing economy along with the fractured nature of his Conservative Party as well as his country. In his speech, Sunak said he will fix some of his predecessor Liz Truss's mistakes.
This government will have integrity, professionalism, and accountability at every level.
Sunak had an audience with King Charles at Buckingham Palace, making him the first prime minister to be invited by the king to form a new government. Inflation in the UK is at a 40-year high, so his honeymoon won't be long. But President Biden has called Sunak's rise to prime minister, quote, groundbreaking. The UK has had 2 prime ministers step down in the past 7 weeks.
The updated COVID vaccine was rolled out to the public last month.
But so far, Americans have been slow to roll up their sleeves.
Skylar Henry has more details from the White House.
President Biden invited the media to watch as he received an updated COVID vaccine.
Thank you.
The updated vaccine is effective against both the original strain of COVID-19 as well as the Omicron variant.
If you're fully vaccinated, get one more COVID shot once a year. That's it.
But so far, only 19.4 million Americans have received the latest shot. That's about 17% of the U.S. population.
I'm calling on all Americans. Seems like you're having to make this case again. All Americans to get their shots just as soon as they can. Your old vaccine or your previous COVID infection will not give you maximum protection.
The White House is beginning the push to increase vaccination numbers, saying now is the time to get protected ahead of the upcoming holiday season.
You can spend Thanksgiving with family and friends with a peace of mind knowing that you've done your part for everyone's well-being.
This comes as a respiratory virus known as RSV is already sending children to the hospital, and flu season is just getting started.
We're already seeing a rise in flu and RSV and other respiratory illnesses, especially among young children. So take precautions, stay safe.
And officials say the numbers will only rise as colder temperatures force Americans to spend more time indoors for the winter. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
President Biden also called on Congress to provide new funding so that COVID vaccine shots can continue to be free for all Americans.
Well, still to come at 4, a story on a beaver's dam. No, not the city.
It was a little confusing. A real dam, but it isn't in the wild. It's another viral video. We'll sort it all out when Live at 4 continues.
Watching News 3 Now, Live at 4.
More than 300 murders just last year. Terror murder at the Waukesha Christmas Parade. But defund the police radical Mandela Barnes still supports eliminating cash bail, releasing dangerous criminals back into our communities. Barnes says,
reducing prison population is now sexy.
Actually, releasing criminals isn't sexy. It's dangerous. Radical Mandela Barnes won't keep your family safe. Senate Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Don't you wish you could wave a magic wand and have whiter teeth? Well, you can, but it's not magic. It's power swabs. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and boom, whiter teeth and a better smile. And since you're not dealing with messy trays or awkward strips, you're less vulnerable to the harsh sensitivity they sometimes create.
I've used strips. They seem to really hurt my teeth. The power swabs, it just seemed very gentle.
It's so simple and easy. You just open it, you apply it to your teeth, you forget it's there, and I noticed that they're white and bright again like they were before.
I noticed actually a difference the first time that I used power swabs. You put on the first coat and then the activator goes on and immediately you start seeing it working.
It only takes 5-minute applications to get a brighter, whiter smile with power swabs. You just snap, swab, and smile. Power swabs have been clinically studied to whiten natural teeth and remove stains from caps, crowns, and veneers. It's so powerful, it removes stains from coffee, tea, red wine, and even smoking.
I love my coffee in the morning.
I will never stop drinking coffee. I will not be the person drinking hot coffee with a straw.
As much coffee as I drink, I can use my power swabs and eliminate the staining.
When I used the power swabs, I applied it directly to my front tooth where the coffee stain was.
I like being able to individually get the teeth, and most importantly, it got kind of in between the grooves.
You can put it directly on the stain that you see on your teeth, and it's so precise.
But as powerful as it is, it's also gentle and causes 0 to minimal sensitivity.
This didn't sting, it didn't burn, it didn't have an aftertaste. It was just a swab, and I just got to rub it on my teeth, and that was it.
Take it from me as someone who has gone the dental route, but has also gone on the shelf route, and I've not really seen anything work as effective and as easy as power swabs.
Whiten your teeth today by ordering power swabs and receive 40% off the regular price. Shipping is free, plus you'll receive a free quick stick pen to use on the go after meals or a cup of coffee. Visit powerswabs.com or call the number on your screen.
I'm Mandela Barnes, and I approve this message.
All units, all units. Reports of an abortion at Central Hospital. Officers needed to detain doctor.
If Ron Johnson has his way, he wouldn't just ban abortions. Doctors could go to jail for it. And Johnson's tried for over a decade. He even co-sponsored a bill with no exceptions for rape, incest, or the life of the woman. And said if women don't like an abortion ban, they can just move. But it's Ron Johnson who doesn't belong in Wisconsin.
Welcome back, fast food fanatics. The McRib is making a comeback again.
You ever had one?
No, and I don't know what all the excitement is about.
Well, you better hurry up because they're on a farewell tour. Yes, McDonald's is calling it the McRib Farewell Tour.
Oh, dear God. Is Cher involved in this?
It'll be back on the menu October 31st. The 520-calorie sandwich with seasoned boneless pork dipped in barbecue sauce and topped with onions and pickles is famous for being a limited-time favorite treat for the fast food giant. You have until November 20th, Mark, to make your McRib goodbyes.
Maybe I'll get one.
Yeah, might as well try one.
Well, home prices have slowed considerably in recent months as higher mortgage rates have pushed more prospective buyers out of the market. According to the S&P, the National Home Price Index in August, seasonally adjusted home prices fell 0.9% month over month. July also marked the first month-over-month decrease for the national index since February of 2012. The drop between July and August was the largest deceleration of home prices in the history of the index. All 20 cities tracked by the index reported smaller price increases in August compared to last year.
America's largest automaker is bouncing back. General Motors earnings were up 48% from last year as supply chain issues ease up. By the end of June, GM said it was able to clear out about 75% of the roughly 90,000 vehicles it initially couldn't complete because of missing parts. Even with economic concerns, the folks at GM say demand has been strong.
And it was a big earnings day on Wall Street with the NASDAQ leading the rally. The Dow Industrials added 337 points, closing at 31,836. The NASDAQ was up 246 points. The S&P 500 gained 61. Well, you might think a beaver dam where there's no water isn't worth a lot.
Well, you'd be wrong. Jeannie Mose tells us about an adorable baby beaver at a wildlife rescue center. This is in Massachusetts, not in our beaver dam.
Yeah, it's a different beaver dam.
It's gone viral now with her dam building.
If you want a dam in your doorway, might as well just
Leave it to Beaver.
This beaver, named Nibby, an orphan living at the Newhouse Wildlife Rescue Center in Massachusetts, where she doesn't get along with another female beaver named Zeeby. So when Zeeby was moved to another enclosure, Nibby became a busy beaver.
Tell me about the damn video. I'll tell you about the dam.
Rescue Center founder Jane Newhouse says as soon as Zeeby left the rehab room, Nibby instantly began damming up the door through which her nemesis had departed. She went back for a stick she'd dropped, and when she got the foundation laid, she left with a spring in her step that captivated the internet. The hippity-hop is rare enough that biologists contacted Jane.
And, they asked if I had raised Nibby maybe with a rabbit or some kind of animal that hops a lot.
Nope, that's just something Nibby does when she's excited. As for the dam building, that's instinctual behavior for baby beavers, even without parental instruction.
It's so ingrained in them, they'll take anything.
Toys, blankets, whatever. During our interview, Nibby occasionally bumped the camera.
And we,
And the 5-month-old
Nibby from being meat. Sorry.
Had to be restrained when she attacked the door.
Chewing on the door.
She is more inspired to build dams when she hears rain or when a faucet is running. Jane turned one on.
Oh, she's hopping.
But Nibby is hopping mad at Zeeby, and this is one baby beaver who really gives a damn. Jeannie Mose, CNN.
She's very mad about it.
New York.
Okay.
Nibby.
The instinct is remarkable.
Animals are incredible,
They really
aren't
are.
they?
Don't have a beaver for a pet.
The little hop, like,
Oh,
look
yeah.
what I'm doing.
She was so excited.
So proud of herself. That's
Got
really
back at
funny.
him. Well, Russia has yet to let up in Ukraine, decimating Ukrainian infrastructure and civilians' ability to lead a normal life.
We'll have that when we come back. When Live at 4 returns, we'll take you to the southern Ukrainian city of Mykolaiv, where people are in constant state of fear. That's coming up next.
Some ideas seem good, but aren't.
Maybe she could sell her house.
What could go wrong?
Like listing your house, then dealing with all the trouble, expense, not to mention closing costs. We Buy Ugly Houses can buy your house fast for all cash as is with no hassle. Call or click to sell quick.
Over 800 convicted criminals released. 270 murderers and attempted murderers released. 44 child rapists released. Tony Evers' parole commission has released hundreds of violent criminals early, including some of the worst killers in Wisconsin history. Evers' liberal policies are making our communities less safe. Tony Evers put criminals first and our family's safety last.
You didn't live this strong, this long, to get put on the shelf like a porcelain doll. But 1 out of 2 women over 50 will suffer a fracture from osteoporosis. You should know you can build new bone with Evenity for postmenopausal women with osteoporosis at high risk for fracture. Ask your doctor if you can do more than just slowing down bone loss with Evenity. Want stronger bones? Then build new bone. Evenity can help in just 12 months. Evenity is proven to reduce spine fracture risk by 73%.
Evenity can increase risk of heart attack, stroke, or death from a cardiovascular problem. Do not take Evenity if you have low blood calcium or are allergic to it. Serious allergic reactions and low blood calcium have occurred. Tell your doctor about jawbone problems, as they have been reported with Evenity, or about pain in your hip, groin, or thigh, as unusual thigh bone fractures have occurred.
Don't let a break put you on a shelf. Talk to your doctor about building new bone with Evenity.
The house before you, over 30 years old, still has its original window. Boom. There's no no need to be afraid of old windows. Call Feldco for 50% off.
It's the biggest sale of the season. 50% off Feldco windows, plus no money down and no interest until 2024.
50% off ends Halloween. Call now.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866 for Feldco.
I'm Mandela Barnes, and I approve this message.
All units, all units. Reports of an abortion at Central Hospital. Officers needed to detain doctor.
If Ron Johnson has his way, he wouldn't just ban abortions. Doctors could go to jail for it. And Johnson's tried for over a decade. He even co-sponsored a bill with no exceptions for rape, incest, or the life of the woman, and said if women don't like an abortion ban, they can just move. But it's Ron Johnson who doesn't belong in Wisconsin.
Some ideas seem good, but aren't.
These guys will buy our house without even seeing it.
Online buyers make offers that seem attractive at first, only to lower or cancel at the last minute. We Buy Ugly Houses won't reduce or cancel our firm cash offers before closing. Call or click to sell quick.
Take a look at this. Ryan Alonso, thank you, has skipped his way into 2 Guinness World Records. The 35-year-old Filipino achieved his latest feat in July, and Guinness in October certified him as having consecutively completed 3,731 jump rope crossovers, which are done by crossing the arms in and out while rotating the rope around his body. Alonso's other earlier record was in 2021 when he performed 40,980 double under skips in 12 hours that involved the rope passing around the body twice in a single jump. Endurance was a common denominator in breaking the 2 records, and Skip Man, as his friends call him, attribute his skipping warm-ups for other sports. His thighs have got to be
his
like
calves.
That's incredible.
Oh my gosh.
That is incredible. I love when they do it in slow motion, because then you can really appreciate it.
12 hours.
That's crazy.
That's amazing.
Wow, it is amazing.
All right, Mr. Iron Man.
Yes, exactly.
I know, but it's not as impressive as what he did.
No,
but as we get into the next part of the week, well, the good news is not a lot of rain, but fall weather is back. We're going to take a deeper look at how that's going to impact the rest of our work week coming up with the First One forecast after the break.
At Harker Heating and Cooling, you can save a whole bunch of money when you buy a furnace. You know what's even better? Saving even more money when you purchase a furnace and an air conditioner at the same time.
Harker Heating and Cooling.
Radical Tim Michaels is extremely divisive.
I don't care who I offend.
And at his company, the culture comes from the top. Multiple court filings say women were sexually assaulted, harassed, and pressured to have sex with their bosses.
If she refused demands for sex, she would be blackballed from working on a pipeline job.
Higher-ups dismissed the women as liars and fired those who spoke out.
I don't care who I offend.
That's how Tim Michaels runs his company. Don't let him run our state.
Coming from the Midwest, we know that winter can chill to the bones. Menards has all the heating options to combat those cold months. Need heat wherever you are? Check out our endless options of space heaters. Want something for a cozy living space? Pick up one of our many fireplaces. Job sites? Home? We have your back. Menards has heating options for whatever situation you need it for, and get 11% off it all.
Save big money at Menards.
Chevy Silverado. It's got the power you want and the capability you need to do the job, so you can get to the important work. Find new moments, find new roads. Get a $500 cash allowance on all 2022 Silverado pickups with a 2.7-liter turbo engine when you purchase. Plus, current Chevy owners can get an additional $2,500 loyalty cash. And now during truck season, get a $1,000 accessory allowance toward a new Chevy truck with accessories.
I'm Mandela Barnes, and I approve this message.
All units, all units. Reports of an abortion at Central Hospital. Officers needed to detain doctor.
If Ron Johnson has his way, he wouldn't just ban abortions. Doctors could go to jail for it. And Johnson's tried for over a decade. He even co-sponsored a bill with no exceptions for rape, incest, or the life of the woman, and said if women don't like an abortion ban, they can just move. But it's Ron Johnson who doesn't belong in Wisconsin.
At Harker Heating and Cooling, you can save a whole bunch of money when you buy a furnace. You know what's even better? Saving even more money when you purchase a furnace and an air conditioner at the same time.
Harker Heating and Cooling.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
Though it's been much cooler for our Tuesday, we've dealt with cloud cover and even some more rain. The last few days have been anything but normal in terms of the temperatures that we've been seeing. So much so that over the last couple, especially yesterday, we actually set a new record low temperature for us as we got around 62 degrees, setting a new record for us here in October. And the last time we saw a temperature that was that warm was back in 2012, where our old record was 60 degrees. Just kind of gives a look at how the overnight in itself has been quite on the mild side as we continue throughout the rest of our week. But now as we get into what we're seeing for our Tuesday, still we're dealing with this band, a long stretch of showers that have just been really enveloping much of the eastern side of the upper Midwest from southern Wisconsin into Lake Michigan. But for us, what this is going to be looking like as we continue throughout the rest of this evening is we're going to start to see some of these showers just continue to be on the lighter or moderate side throughout the course of the evening, but start to phase out by the time we get into tonight. Outside of that, though, we are looking for this coming from this dynamic system, which has brought in a line of showers to our friends to the south. And on top of it, we're looking at the cold front, which is the leading edge, and that has brought in a bit of some of these rain showers and the cooler temperatures that we're going to start to feel, especially by the time we get into tonight, because our temperatures are going to plummet from what we've had over the last couple. Low temperatures around 40 degrees for us for tonight. It's going to be clouder and cooler, but the good news is the rain looks to end by the time we get into the later part of it. But let's go ahead and plan out what we're going to see here in Dane County. We're going to see some showers early, but overall we're going to look at the overnight being dry. Temperatures will be in the low 40s for us here in Dane County. And for the rest of southern Wisconsin, areas just to the north of the Dells are going to be back into the 30s. And we'll see for Platteville 40 degrees and 42 over towards Janesville. So let's go ahead and walk through what we're going to expect for the rest of tonight. Mainly the eastern side of southern Wisconsin is going to continue to see those showers just continue to train themselves over the next few hours. We are looking for around midnight for that rain to start to move mainly just east of Dane County. It's just going to be hitting from areas from Waukesha to Fond du Lac and even towards our friends in Milwaukee, closer to Lake Michigan. Then as we get into tomorrow, we're going to start to see a bit more of that cooler temperatures start to hold firm for us, especially as we're heading out the door. Not looking at too much in terms of rainfall left for us. But the areas to the east, they could still see a quarter to a half of an inch of some rainfall. So let's go ahead and plan out for tomorrow. 53 degrees is where we're going to start to see a bit more of that fall weather really take shape and hold for the rest of the week for us. But the good news is we're also looking at dry weather heading towards the weekend. We're going to see those temperatures be into the 50s and start to warm up heading into the weekend, around 61 for Saturday, but plenty of sunshine. Not looking at much in terms of rainfall. And then for Halloween, it's actually going to shape up a bit unseasonable for this time of year, especially since it is just one day before November, because November's next week.
Wow, it's hard to believe.
I know, it has flown by, and we're going to see the 60s to start it off.
I was going to put the grill away, but I'm not going to now.
You can still get a little bit of grilling going.
Yep, absolutely.
Keep your shorts and flip-flops out, too.
I know. All right, Julian, thank you.
Thanks, Julian.
Russia is not letting up, pounding the southern region of Ukraine with missile strikes in recent days.
Many residential areas have been hit, leaving people in a constant state of anguish.
Clarissa Ward has more.
By now, it has become a familiar routine in Mykolaiv. In the relative calm of daylight hours, residents comb through the wreckage of the night before. On this day, it's an apartment building on the outskirts of town. 2 Russian S-300 missiles hit at 1 in the morning.
So this here is where the first strike hit, and then you can see the second one just smashed in to the top of that building.
5 people were injured, but miraculously no one was killed. In one apartment, Andriy is busy cleaning up. He tells us this is what the Russians do. They shoot not at military objects, but where people live, he says. The fact is, the anger towards them is rising, and it won't go away. Not in a month, not in a year, not even 10 years. In this southern port city, people have become used to hardship. Since April, there has been no fresh water here. The main pumping station was hit in a Russian strike. Now they gather every day and patiently wait to stock up. A few blocks down, another line. This one for humanitarian aid. Will I be able to get something today? This old woman asked. We already have 100 people on the list, the organizer replies. Mykolaiv is less than 20 miles from the nearest front lines and just 35 miles from the Russian-held city of Kherson. Last week, Russia announced that civilians must leave Kherson, warning of an imminent Ukrainian attack. Ukraine called it propaganda to distract from recent Ukrainian military gains. It is difficult to get a picture of what's really going on in Kherson, but we managed to connect with one resident, who we will call Vitaly, who took these videos. The streets, he says, are empty, but there are people in the markets. Most vendors no longer want to take Russian rubles as they prepare for a potential Russian withdrawal. Do you have a sense of whether Russian forces have left the city or not?
There are fewer Russian soldiers here, but you find them around the city. Several days ago, there was a rotation and they brought in new soldiers. Part of the soldiers who were here for a while, they left and the new ones came. Probably they are mobilized, conscripts. They don't even know what city they're in.
And why did you decide to stay? Are you not frightened?
It's our city. We believe that we have to wait until our army comes. I can't say we are not afraid. We are afraid. But this is our decision.
The people who remain in Mykolaiv have made a similar decision. Back at the strike site, the cleanup has already begun as the city braces itself for the next attack. Clarissa Ward, CNN, Mykolaiv, Ukraine.
I can't imagine living in those conditions.
It is unimaginable. Coming up on 8 months now of the war.
All right, coming up next year on Live at 4, we'll help you decide whether collagen is worth your time and effort.
And then coming up next hour at 5, as today is the first day of in-person absentee voting in various Dane County communities, our Tahalil Moaddin will tell us how difficult it is to vote from jail. That's coming up at 5.
I'm Mandela Barnes, and I approve this message.
All units, all units. Reports of an abortion at Central Hospital. Officers needed to detain doctor.
If Ron Johnson has his way, he wouldn't just ban abortions. Doctors could go to jail for it. And Johnson's tried for over a decade. He even co-sponsored a bill with no exceptions for rape, incest, or the life of the woman. And said if women don't like an abortion ban, they can just move. But it's Ron Johnson who doesn't belong in Wisconsin.
These are the faces that smile so wide at the friends and staff who are by their side, where life is lived with a feeling of pride on every bump of life's great ride that comes from the care that sweetens the air that lives in the house that angels built. Attic Angel Community, independent homes and 4 levels of assisted living built with the help of angels.
Hey, we're here at the local farmers market where Informed Choice Insurance Agency is offering fresh, hand-picked local Medicare. What do you mean when you say shop local for Medicare?
Your local Medicare plans have all of the bells and whistles the national TV ads promise, only better because you're working with local agents who know the doctors, specialists, and the hospital networks inside and out. You're not going to get that talking to a national call center wanting to check your zip code.
Don't be fooled by national TV hype. When it comes to your Medicare options, keep it local with Informed Choice Insurance Agency, and their services are free.
Dupixent helps you do more with less asthma and can help you breathe better in as little as 2 weeks. Dupixent is an add-on treatment for specific types of moderate to severe asthma that's not for sudden breathing problems. Dupixent can cause allergic reactions that can be severe. Get help right away if you have rash, chest pain, worsening shortness of breath, tingling or numbness in your limbs. Tell your doctor about new or worsening joint aches and pain or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop asthma medicines, including steroids, without talking to your doctor. Ask your specialist about Dupixent.
At Blaine's Farm and Fleet, we make it easy to get ready for winter. We're the cold weather experts, offering the gear and supplies you need to combat the cold, snowy weather ahead, all at fair and honest prices. Like 30% off zero exposure coats for the family. These women's Carhartt vests, $99.99. Get a free pair of boot socks with every snow boot purchase while supplies last. And keep pets cozy with special buy pet bed and blanket sets, just $19.99.
New at 5, closing arguments have been presented in the Darrell Brooks trial. News 3 now analyzes those closing statements and shares what comes next.
Showers east of Madison will end tonight, but skies will remain cloudy. Wednesday will be sunny and cool, but temperatures should be back above normal for the end of the week with dry weather expected. I'll let you know how mild it'll get at 5.
And ahead at 6, we explore how those who were incarcerated can exercise their right to vote. How can those serving time for misdemeanors still have their voices heard? The story tonight at 6.
Giving the weather satellite a spin, we end up in Plymouth, New Hampshire.
Oh, isn't that beautiful?
Is that real?
I know, it looks like a very quaint New England town. No mere colors, though.
No, it's pretty much done up there as well. Well, here's yet another trend to add to your list, collagen.
You've probably seen they promise younger-looking skin and flexible joints. Consumer Reports says this collagen craze may have some benefits and reveals what the collagen fuss is all about.
Our Leah Lynchide helps us out.
Fitness enthusiast Tracy Eck exercises at least 5 days a week, everything from tennis to weight training to Pilates. She started having pain in her knee. Her doctor recommended surgery, but before going under the knife, Tracy tried collagen supplements just to see if the hype she had heard might give her some pain relief.
6 to 8 weeks after I started, I didn't go to my freezer and pull out my ice packs that I usually do and sit and ice my knees. It felt like a miracle to me.
Even since the surgery, she's been taking collagen daily in her coffee, even in her soups. Tracy is among the thousands of U.S. consumers who spent $222 million on collagen supplements in 2021 alone. So what makes this popular protein so special?
As we age, we produce less of it, so our skin can start to sag or wrinkle. And without fresh collagen, our tendons, ligaments, and joints can also become less flexible.
So is taking more collagen the answer? Consumer Reports says early research shows promise, but more evidence is needed. And when it comes to supplements of any kind, use them with caution.
The Food and Drug Administration doesn't guarantee that you'll get what the package claims, but you can also up your intake by adding more collagen-rich foods to your diet.
Like bone broth or tough cuts of meat, but adequate amounts of any protein will provide what your body needs to make collagen, about 25 to 30 grams a meal, or the equivalent of 4 ounces. Pretty much what Tracy eats, in addition to taking collagen supplements. Everything from protein bars to chicken, fish, eggs, cheese, and nuts.
I think it's really made a difference with my nails. My nails are harder, they're sturdier.
Collagen may not be the key to eternal youth, but it's definitely having a moment. For News 3 Now, this is Leah Lynchide.
And one last note, lifestyle can also affect your collagen supply.
Things like sun exposure, smoking, excessive alcohol or sugar intake, and lack of sleep can all speed up the process of losing collagen.
So make up your own mind, I guess, on this. Have you gotten your COVID booster and flu shots yet? You should.
UW Health's Dr. Jeff Potoff joins us next. We're going to talk about a possible triple-demic this winter when Live at 4 continues.
There's a difference in a small town where family values still hold true. Welcome to the Portage Furniture Store. Well, we ventured back to Portage and look at who we found, the two Ayers brothers, Austin and Aaron. It's good to see you guys.
Welcome back.
So how is business? How is life?
Business has been great. You know, it's been very busy, busy for both of us. A couple new kiddos in the past year. So no, but business has been doing great.
I know you really want to give a shout out to all of the people around this area that shop local, that choose to come right here to Cook Street to see the two of you.
Obviously, first and foremost, we're so appreciative of our customers, and there's just been such a strong sentiment to shop local, shop small, support family business. And I guess with the inventory, we've been very blessed. We've got a packed showroom, trucks coming in every week. We've really, we're running out of places to put everything. We're in good shape.
I feel like there's such a difference in the customer's mood when they walk in. They don't have that anxious feeling of, oh gosh, here comes the salesperson coming over to talk to me. Why is that so different here?
We put a major emphasis on no pressure shopping. Our salespeople, they're fantastic. They're going to be there when you need them, but they're going to let you, try everything out, and they're going to leave you alone, let you relax.
So all these years later, the big question is, there's still the Portage Furniture free delivery?
Yep, absolutely. Still the free delivery. Going to bring it right into your home, set it up, make it perfect for you. They'll even cook you dinner or sing a song for you if you need. They're just fantastic.
That's that small, local, family feel business mentality.
Absolutely.
You can't replicate it, right?
We're the Mears family.
From the Portage Furniture Store, I'm Emmy Fink, and you're buzzed into Madison.
More than 300 murders just last year. Terror at the Waukesha Christmas Parade. But defund the police radical Mandela Barnes still supports eliminating cash bail, releasing dangerous criminals back into our communities. Barnes says,
reducing prison populations is now sexy.
Actually, releasing criminals isn't sexy, it's dangerous. Radical Mandela Barnes won't keep your family safe. Senate Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
I'm Mandela Barnes, and I approve this message.
All units, all units. Reports of an abortion at Central Hospital. Officers needed to detain doctor.
If Ron Johnson has his way, he wouldn't just ban abortions. Doctors could go to jail for it. And Johnson's tried for over a decade. He even co-sponsored a bill with no exceptions for rape, incest, or the life of the woman. And said if women don't like an abortion ban, they can just move. But it's Ron Johnson who doesn't belong in Wisconsin.
And a quick update on our traffic. We are looking at some slow spots onto the Beltline east and westbound thanks to the weather. We're looking from just off of the ramps and even to the central side of the eastbound side of the Beltline. Really going to be on the slower side for us, but just off of Fish Hatchery east and westbound, is where we're also looking at some of those slow spots. However, the interstate is a completely different story. Smooth as butter and green lit as we're getting into close to the 5 p.m. commutes. It's going to do it for our traffic update. Send it back to you guys.
All right, Julie, thank you. If you ever wanted to spend the night on a pirate ship, one Richmond, Virginia couple has made your dream come true. Lauren and Kellen DeMarco bought the Jolly Lodger at the end of September and have since transformed it into a houseboat, a place for guests to feel like they're part of a treasure-seeking adventure. The two-bedroom boat comes complete with a slew of skeletons ready to set sail, a full kitchen, and modern amenities like Wi-Fi and TV. Why they're skeletons, I don't know.
Well, a pirate ship has to have Wi-Fi, duh.
Oh, medical experts are sounding the alarm about a possible triple-demic that could unfold this winter with cases of COVID, flu, and RSV all expected to rise.
The season is already off to a little bit of a rough start with respiratory illnesses spiking around the country. Doctors are concerned about this possible triple combination. Pediatric hospitals in many states are at capacity now, with kids fighting respiratory infections or RSV. But White House COVID-19 response coordinator Dr. Ashish Jha says Americans are not powerless in this situation. Getting vaccinated could make a big difference.
We have flu shots that keep people out of the hospital. We have COVID shots. We have a brand new COVID shot that is formulated against the virus that's out there right now. That will keep people out of the hospital, prevent people from getting seriously ill.
Dr. Jha stresses that keeping people out of the hospital is critical when many viruses are circulating, so hospitals do not get overwhelmed. Taking common sense precautions, such as staying home when you're sick and washing your hands, can also help keep everyone healthy. While there are vaccines for COVID-19 and flu, there is no RSV vaccine yet. Several companies are currently working on it, and Dr. Jha says he hopes a vaccine may be available within a year.
And UW Health Chief Quality Officer Dr. Jeff Potoff joins us now. Welcome back.
Hi, Dr. Potoff.
Good to be here.
What is the situation here with hospitalizations?
Yeah, so there is a bit of a surge of RSV right now. I think if you look at UW Health data or American Family Children's Hospital compared to last year this time, the number of positive RSV tests are up about fourfold. So pretty good increase. The health system has been busy all the way around. It's been that way, for several months now, and that's why we are a little bit concerned if we see an increase in RSV on top of influenza, and then if we start to see some increased COVID cases this fall going into winter, it might get hard to manage everyone's healthcare needs that needs a hospital.
When you have a label like triple-demic, it sounds a little bit alarmist, but it is a combination of 3 of those viruses. Of those 3, which one are you most concerned about right now?
Right now today, it's RSV in our pediatric population. For the last 2 years, kids have been masked. There's a lot of kids who haven't been exposed to RSV that otherwise would be, so we're kind of getting, 2 years worth all at one time and a little bit earlier. And most kids with RSV do absolutely fine, but if there's a lot of cases, even if a small number of those need hospitalization, it can end up being a pretty significant amount that end up in the hospital.
And they all spread the same way, right?
They all spread the same way, so they're all respiratory viruses, whether RSV, COVID, or influenza. So important to wash your hands, avoid going into public places when you're sick, and for influenza and COVID, you can decrease your likelihood of coming down with it if you get yourself vaccinated.
Are adults are they threatened by RSV?
Older adults, especially those who are immunocompromised, can have a rough course with RSV. Most of us, once we're past the age of 2 or 3, we do pretty well with it, and then it starts to become a problem once we're over the age of 65.
Okay. I got an email today from a viewer who wanted me to ask you if it's possible to get a Novavax vaccination.
For COVID.
For COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. So Novavax kind of snuck in there late in the game. It's the 4th approved vaccine. There was Johnson & Johnson and then Pfizer and Moderna, which are the most common. And then Novavax, which kind of uses old school technology, which some people prefer if they're not certain about this mRNA technology. So you can get the Novavax vaccine. It works on par with kind of our original COVID-19 vaccine. I think the one drawback of Novavax right now is we now have these Omicron-specific boosters for our mRNA vaccines. Those are desirable. Novavax doesn't have that yet.
Where would you find a Novavax? It's never on the list of what you can get.
Yeah, you might have to call around, but most places or some places will have Novavax vaccines, so it's out there. It's just not as easy as like looking up any Walgreens or CVS to find it.
So vaccination's the key here.
I think vaccination will keep volumes down so that we have a better chance of having room in the hospital for everyone who does come down with flu that needs to be admitted, or COVID or RSV, but also for other things that people need to be admitted for, whether it's heart disease or stroke or things that we see right now. So getting vaccinated is doing your part to make sure that there's capacity for people in our hospitals when they get sick.
Absolutely.
Right, and if you have questions for Dr. Potoff, be sure to reach out to us, and we'll pass them along.
Okay. We'll see you next week.
Great to see you.
I'll see you then.
A full check of your forecast is coming up.
I'm Mandela Barnes, and I approve this message.
All units, all units. Reports of an abortion at Central Hospital. Officers needed to detain doctor.
If Ron Johnson has his way, he wouldn't just ban abortions. Doctors could go to jail for it. And Johnson's tried for over a decade. He even co-sponsored a bill with no exceptions for rape, incest, or the life of the woman, and said if women don't like an abortion ban, they can just move. But it's Ron Johnson who doesn't belong in Wisconsin.
I'll never forget January 6th, watching my fellow law enforcement officers defending the Capitol, defending our freedoms, defending democracy, and then 5 officers died. But Ron Johnson is making excuses for rioters who tried to overthrow our government, even calling them peaceful protests. Johnson defended Donald Trump's lies and even supported efforts to make it harder for some people to vote at all. Senator Johnson's just not for us.
And Citizens United is responsible for the content of this ad.
Non-attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms. If you or a loved one were stationed at Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987 and were later diagnosed with cancer, Parkinson's disease, or other serious health effects, call right now.
Call 1-800-336-0524.
Democrats defunded and dispirited our police, creating the worst crime wave in decades. Biden spent us into 40-year high inflation, drove gas prices to record levels, and opened our borders, causing a flood of illegal immigrants and deadly drugs. Mandela Barnes supports all the policies causing you and your family so much pain. He will rubber stamp their liberal agenda. Mandela Barnes sides with radical leftists, not with you.
I'm Ron Johnson, and I approve this message.
New at 5, the trial of Darrell Brooks reaches closing arguments this afternoon. News 3 Now sifts through proceedings, bringing you all the trial takeaways. We discuss what will happen next in the case. It's coming up at 5. The candidates for Wisconsin Attorney General face off in a live debate. Join us as Attorney General Josh Call and District Attorney Eric Toney debate in a Campaign 2022 special.
Thursday at 4 p.m. on News 3 Now, your local election headquarters.
Oh, sorry. And as we take a look at our 3 things we'll need to know, showers will be ending for tonight, but we're looking at temperatures to be relatively near normal and cool over the next few days. Then as we head towards the weekend, could see a couple of moderate temperatures, but overall, we are going to be looking at a dry stretch and a cool stretch once we're done with the showers, heading into the overnights, which is going to be fantastic, not only for Halloween, but for us heading into the weekend. Over to you guys.
All right, Julian, thank you. Tomorrow here on Live at 4, CBS travel advisor Peter Greenberg has advice on holiday and winter travel.
And Lisa Briggs will join us from the Bruce Company to answer your plant and garden questions live. That's coming up tomorrow on Live at 4.
With Pick and Save Fresh Perks, it's easy to get lower than low prices for the win. You also earn fuel points on every purchase to save big at the pump. Pick and Save Fresh Perks. All you do is win big, big savings. Pick and Save. Fresh for everyone.
The culture wars never lowered the cost of anything, and overturning Roe v. Wade won't take a single criminal off the street. But Tim Michaels has a culture war agenda. He'd ban abortion with no exceptions for rape or incest, and jail doctors who perform them. And he said gay people shouldn't leave their house. That's his agenda. Tony Evers has a real plan to fire up the economy, create good-paying jobs, and get things done. That's the right plan for Wisconsin.
Get up and go! You heard the Jingle Man, Wisconsin. That means it's time to get a versatile, rugged, athletic SUV that makes you feel like you just won a title. Again. Honda was just crowned KBV.com's best value brand for the 7th year in a row. So get up and go to your Wisconsin Heartland Honda dealer today. Honda gets Wisconsin. Bring it home, Songbird. Get up and go!
Remember this? Forecasts are predicting an unreasonably cold and snowy winter. Now's the time to winterproof your home with USA Insulation. 35% more efficient than traditional insulation. Our foam in your walls keeps the cold air out and your warm air in. It's like putting a coat around your entire home. Call now before winter and get a $500 early bird discount.
USA Insulation.
There's no other place where my story is possible. My mom was a teacher. My dad worked third shift. It was our ticket to the middle class. That's the promise of America I'll fight to protect. While others send our jobs overseas, I'll bring manufacturing back, invest in our own workers, and stock our shelves with American products. And with a middle class tax cut, you'll be able to keep more of what you earn. I know the promise of America, and no one will fight harder to protect it. I'm Mandela Barnes, and I approve this message.
With the Pick and Save app, no matter where you order free pickup, you get the same great deals as you get in our stores. So start your cart today. Wherever. Pick and Save, fresh for everyone.
Well, creepy cakes and spooky sweets are celebrating Halloween at the Cake and Bake Show in London.
As we see in our final touch, the edible creations are all competing in a bakery competition at the show. Feeling peckish for maggots, brains, and rotting flesh? The zombie bird cake is one of the hundreds of spooky sweets served up for the Cake and Bake Show at London's Excel. The UK's largest consumer baking show returns with a Halloween-themed baking competition pitting amateur and professional bakers from across Europe. Rolling pins at the ready. The popular competition attracts an eclectic mix of Halloween cakes, from eyeballs, haunted houses, even an innovative turntable cake featuring vampires, Frankenstein monsters, and mummies. This busy show will attract around 20,000 visitors over the course of its 3-day run.
Well, that would get me to stop eating cake.
What, maggots and eyeballs?
Yes. That's a good diet.
That's our time for now. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here again tomorrow. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.